When you're working in games, one of the things that you're going to need to do is pick a game engine. There are a lot of different kinds of engines out there, and they change all the time. But typically, the rule is this: work on the engine that is going to be best for your project. Now, what I mean by that is if you're going to be working on a game that's a first person shooter, try to find an engine that's going to support first person shooters natively. So, for instance, the Unreal Engine or the Quake engine. There's a lot of thought that goes into game engines. Price is definitely a concern. You can pay up to millions of dollars to get a license for an engine for a game, for a AAA title game. And then you can also get a free engine like Ogre 3D or Panda or Panda 3D or something like that. So there's a whole range, but the two other aspects of what you need to measure are how much work does it take to get stuff done, and how expert are you at getting stuff done in that engine. And the second thing is the customability of the game itself. So for instance, in a game like RPG Maker, it's really hard to do much else other than the traditional RPG Maker kind of game. Which is, that top-down, sprite-based RPG game. And those games are great and fine, and there are wonderful games that people can make with them, but you're definitely limited when it comes down to scope of how big the end. Now, so if you wanted to make a very targeted game and you knew exactly what it looked like, and you wanted to clone it nearly exactly, you can use an engine like that. Are engines and tools that will help you make a game from scratch. Now, those types of tools are extremely labor-intensive, but they also give you the best amount of customability, and they also typically give you the lowest amount of overhead. What I mean by that is the amount of extra graphics and processing power that you're going to need to run that engine alongside your game. Because one of the things that a game engine does, like Unity, is it runs everything kind of well. Now, I'm not speaking about Unity specifically, and now, a game engine like Unity or Construct might do a lot of things okay, but it might not run really, 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 really well on an iPhone or whatnot. Now, obviously, these are all very, very specific instances, and that's exactly what you want. As far as this class goes, I very strongly suggest that if you're a programmer, do not try to write your own engine. Try to work within another engine. Because that's actually one of the skills that you're going to need to use in the game industry. You're probably not going to start as an engine programmer right away, or perhaps if you are, you're going to be a junior one and already has a bunch of code that needs fixing. You're going to probably need to dive in and understand the landscape of an engine. I typically see people who jump into new engines take like 1 to 3 months in order to understand the nature of the entire beast.